Good evening everyone, my name is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly and this is the first stream of 2023, and from a Manchester United point of view, let's start how we mean to go on, and by that I mean a juicy victory at home. Old Trafford faithful, the first game back at Old Trafford in the new year. It doesn't feel too long ago that we were at Old Trafford watching United dismantle Nottingham Forest, and now we're back again watching United, hopefully with another brilliant performance, this time against Bournemouth. There's apparently no sound, which is really good. I don't know why that is. Is there no sound? Is the sound working? Let me know if the sound's working. Is the sound working now? I don't know what's happened. Let me take this out. I don't know if the sound's not working or not. If it isn't, let me know. But Daryl, thanks for joining anyway. Appreciate it. I'm sorry if you can't hear me. But yeah, I did hear you were doing a stream with Liam with the darts. If you guys enjoy the darts and if you enjoy football content in general, all sports content it seems, everything's covered on Dazzle's Football Stand. Make sure to check him out as well. Brilliant stuff over there. Sorry, that was just a spoon banging into a bowl there. We've started 2023 off in emphatic emphatic fashion. Okay, good. The sound is on. Hopefully you guys can hear it. That's good to hear. That is good to hear. But yes, our first stream in 2023. Hopefully we're going to be a bit more consistent with these streams throughout 2023. And hopefully Manchester United will do the same in the way they play. Because last year, I think if I had to sum it up, it would have been consistently inconsistent from Manchester United. Hopefully this year, consistency is the key. Before we get into anything that I've got to say about this game against Bournemouth, please do leave your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching on the video. Really do appreciate everyone that gets their thoughts either in the live chat or the comments, and I do reply to all of your comments, so please do leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys already know the story, but let's get on to Bournemouth. Let's crack on straight to Bournemouth. And well, this season's been a little bit up and down for them. I think right now Bournemouth fans would say they're in an all right place in terms of the league table. I think at the end of the season they would happily take 15th place. Currently 16 points. Only one win in their last 5 Premier League games. But actually, you know, they haven't done too badly since Gary O'Neill took over. Obviously, Scott Parker was in charge at the start of the season. Wasn't going too well for them. Got rid of Scott Parker, and Liam O'Neill has taken the job, and he's done fairly well. Obviously, right now their form hasn't been brilliant, as you can see, but ultimately being 15th in the table, yes, you know, I think they're probably only 2 or 3 points off the drop, because it's such a tight league this season. But right now, if you said to them they were going to finish 15th in the season, I think they'd absolutely rip your arm off. But, you know, right now, they're a team which, you know, aren't in the best of form. You know, coming off the back of a 2-0 defeat at home to Crystal Palace. Not a great performance at all, especially when you take into account that Crystal Palace haven't been in great form recently. You know, a very, very good win for them, but a very poor defeat for Bournemouth, especially in front of their home crowd. So coming into this game, they're going to have to really up the tempo. They're going to really have to, you know, gain some confidence from somewhere and, you know, take the game to us, because that's how I believe, you know, we're going to lose these games. And that's how teams have beaten us in the past, when they take the game to us, when they pressure us, and, you know, when they do it with conviction. And I think, you know, Bournemouth will be looking forward to this game in some ways. It's the perfect game to have after a bit of a poor result in your last fixture, to go to Old Trafford and to have a bit of a free hit, really. You know, Bournemouth fans are not going to be kind of livid if they don't win this game. You know, it's a bit of a free hit for Bournemouth in this one, which is a little bit worrying from a Man United point of view. I know I was worried going into the Nottingham Forest game for a similar reason, but, you know, Bournemouth will have no fear going to Old Trafford. Yes, we've been playing well, but, you know, they've upset teams before. I think the last time, yes, it wasn't Old Trafford, but one of the last times we played Bournemouth, I think we lost 1-0. You know, and I think it was away from home, but, you know, that they're a side that have the ability to upset the apple cart, and I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game, no doubt about it. They've got a very good aerial presence. Obviously, Philip Billing in the midfield has been very, very good this season. Kiefer Moore, of course, has been a menace, especially from crosses. So they've got a lot of height and they've got a lot of aerial ability. But I think what it is that this season, as a team, they've been fairly strong. You know, they're Bournemouth, even under Eddie Howe, but even post Eddie Howe, have always had this thing where their team spirit can never be doubted. You know, as a team, as a collective, they can be very, very difficult to break down. So I think Bournemouth, you know, they need to be going into this game with hope and, you know, a bit of confidence, saying, you know what, it's a bit of a free hit for us. You know, we can try and get something out of this game. And, you know, you never know in the Premier League. I really... You know, I know it's a massive cliche, but there really is no easy games in this league. And, you know, that's one thing that we've got to make sure, as from a United point of view, that we don't let happen. We need to stamp our authority on the game, because as soon as Bournemouth get any sort of sniff of confidence and any sort of sniff of belief, they're going to ride it to the heavens. And, you know, it's one of those things which we saw today. Obviously, you know, Liverpool losing 3-1 to Brentford. Brentford performing absolutely superbly in that one. A win which was richly deserved from Brentford. Liverpool absolutely nowhere near it. So, you know, ultimately it was a very, very good performance from them. And yeah, there's Foster's. Hopefully they sponsor us. Drink responsibly, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Brentford, on a bit of a sidetrack, fully deserved that victory. Liverpool in the mud once again. And just, I don't know what's happening to Liverpool right now. They just don't seem to have it. But listen, I'm not complaining. Don't worry about that. I'm not complaining. United have a chance to go 7 points clear of Liverpool as well, which would be brilliant to put some clear water between us and them. So, you know, aside from that Liverpool game, I think what that does show you is that these results are well and truly possible. I mean, Chelsea, you know, yesterday drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest. It's no game you can take lightly, and you know, even though our home form this season has been pretty good, barring the loss to Brighton and the draw to Newcastle, which actually doesn't seem too bad of a result now, but you know, I think we've only lost one game at home in the league this season, so we've been fairly strong. We've been fairly strong at home. Hopefully, we continue that vein of form in the new year, but not going to be a straightforward game unless we come out all guns blazing, not like we did in the first half against Wolves. If we see what we saw in the second half against Wolves, you know, we should be fine. You know, if we have that hunger, that determination, and that ruthless streak, then we should be fine. But you can never, ever guarantee anything with this Manchester United team. But on to Manchester United, and, you know, coming off the back of that win against Wolves, a relief was the main feeling, I think, for a lot of United fans. I mean, in the second half, there was a massive pickup in performance. Obviously, we had all the drama with Rashford being dropped for the disciplinary issue. We then heard that it was because he slept in and was late to a team meeting, which I'm sure we've all been late to a meeting before. But obviously, Ten Hag wants to keep those standards high, and I think he handled it to absolute perfection. Obviously, Rashford came on the second half and was brilliant, got the goal, and won his team the game, which ultimately gave us the 3 points that took us into the top four, and thankfully Spurs slipped up as well to Aston Villa. So, you know, it was a very, very good weekend to be a Manchester United fan, and not often this season have we said that, but most teams around us lost and dropped points. We took the advantage and won, and we are where we are today. So very, very happy with those results. But we've got to capitalise, we've got to continue, and we've got to carry that form into the new year. And you know, Rashford, for me, is one of those players where if we are going to get into the top four and if we are going to win trophies, he's got to continue his form. We've talked about potentially bringing in a number 9. Erik Ten Hag's kind of alluded to that, but he's also alluded to the fact that we're not going to go for a player unless it's the absolute right player, which I'm sure, you know, we haven't heard that sort of quote before from the Glazers, have we? Or we haven't heard that sort of quote from Manchester United managers. It seems a little bit deja vu-like to me, but hopefully we do go out and spend some money. But listen, Rashford is going to be the one to carry this team. Anthony and Martial, I should say. Both of them, whilst they're decent players, and I do believe they could hit form, and hopefully they do hit form in the later part of the season, haven't really been on it in the last couple of games. And whilst I do believe they could score goals for us, again, they're not fully reliable for us right now, especially Martial. I didn't really see him get into the game too much in our last game against Wolves. So I'm hoping that he can turn his form around and we can see what we saw towards the start of the season, actually, or even in pre-season, where we saw Sancho, Rashford and Martial linking up. I thought they were brilliant and really fluid going forward. So if we could see that in the regular season, that would be very much appreciated, if they're listening, of course. But speaking of Sancho, obviously you guys must have heard that Sancho came back to training today, which is obviously a really positive sign. He'd been in various different training camps in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully his mental and physical state is bang in shape, and hopefully we can get a very good Jadon Sancho for the rest of the season and the rest of the year and for years to come as well. Because even if he doesn't start, he's going to be massive in terms of squad depth. You know, coming in to the latter part of the season where games start to build up, 2 games a week with all the different competitions, we need the squad depth to be on point. And hopefully Jadon Sancho is ready, is fit, and is hungry to produce in a Manchester United shirt. A few comments. Matthew joins. Thanks for joining, Matthew. Appreciate it. It says other drinks are available. Yeah, of course. Other alcoholic beverages are available. Owen says De Gea needs a few more clean sheets before we can talk about a good season. Well, he's only 1 clean sheet behind the Golden Glove right now, which, you know, you can't knock him. I actually think, you know, right now he'd probably be contender for one of our players of the season, which, you know, I know, Owen, you won't like me saying that, but I think it's true. I think most United fans will say confidently that De Gea has been one of our best players this season. Yes, in the early part of the season, he had a few moments, let's say. Obviously, the one against Brentford springs to mind, Josh Da Silva's goal where he kind of lets it through his arms. Yes, he's had a few moments this season, but ultimately, the clean sheets speak for themselves. And I think defensively, you know, we've been a lot more solid, which has obviously helped him with Martinez and Varane as the centre-back partnership. And even Luke Shaw coming into centre-back has been good. But yeah, listen, I'm going to give you my predicted lineup for this game. Let me know your predicted lineups in the live chat and the comment section as well down below. But this is what I've gone with, and it's actually pretty well an unchanged team from what we saw against Wolves. And obviously Luke Shaw is going to still be playing in that centre-back role. I don't think Harry Maguire is going to be starting next to Varane. I predicted that last time and it didn't work out. Martinez obviously back in training for a couple of days, and listening to Erik Ten Hag's podcast, Erik Ten Hag's press conference, excuse me, you know, he didn't sound too confident that Martinez was going to be starting this game. He did say that he was going to be back in the squad, but I'm not sure whether Martinez is going to be starting. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do a very good job of containing Bournemouth and we do the business early in the game, which I really, really hope we do. But as I said, nothing is guaranteed. It's going to be a fairly interesting game, I think. I really, really do. But if we do somehow end up, you know, kind of getting the job done fairly early, I think Martinez will come on for some minutes to get himself back into the groove of it, get himself back into the feel of Premier League football. But I am going to go with De Gea, Malacia, Shaw, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Eriksen, Casemiro, Fred, Anthony, Rashford and Martial. So that is my unchanged team from the Wolves game, and I want to see the team that we saw in the second half. Obviously, Rashford wasn't on the pitch in the first half. He did start Alejandro Garnacho, obviously because of disciplinary issues. But Rashford is in red-hot form right now, and I fully expect him to continue that into 2023. So that's what I've gone with. That's my 11. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat. Rich has joined us. Thanks for joining, Rich. Hope you're doing well. Make sure to check out Rich's channel if you aren't already. Brilliant stuff over there. He also says David De Gea has done okay recently. Yeah, I think he has. I think he made a lot of important saves against Wolves, no doubt about it, especially towards the end. That header from Jimenez, I think it was, a really, really important save. But he's done that a few times this season, and it's kind of gone under the radar where we've ended up winning the game and maybe we've been kind of 1 or 2 goals ahead, but he's made that save, which has just kept the game from being too close for comfort. And it's really good to see, and I think a confident David De Gea is a brilliant David De Gea, and hopefully he can continue that into 2023. Rich also says, does Casemiro play more forward than people were expecting he would? I think so. I think when he feels confident that, you know, we're looking good going forward and he can join the attack, I I think he does look to come forward. But I think when we're under the cosh, he does like to kind of stay back and really hone that holding midfield role. And obviously, he's world class at that position. I think, again, he would definitely be up there for a candidate for our player of the season so far. An unbelievable signing from Real Madrid. Obviously, we know how good he was, but he's been brilliant for us. He's really taken to the Premier League straight away, and actually, hopefully 2023 continues to be a very, very good time for him at the club. But yeah, I'm sort of surprised, and you know what? He's got a few assists for us. He got a goal against Chelsea, an all-important goal. How important could that goal prove to be at the end of the season? But he's got the ability to score, and he's got the ability to assist as well, which is really, really good. He's got that kind of 360 nature to his game. Box, thanks for joining as well. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good evening. And Andrew, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Cheers for everyone for joining. As I say, if you haven't already, hit that like button if you do enjoy the content, of course. Matthew says, where does this leave Maguire? Well, obviously, this isn't the team that Ten Hag's picked, so, obviously Maguire could be starting, and that would obviously kind of shut all the questions up from the journalists. But, yeah, I think Maguire's in a bit of a tricky place right now, especially because Ten Hag preferred Shaw as a centre-back over Maguire, who's honed his craft as centre-back for his whole career. But you know what? Shaw's done a very good job there. I thought in the games against Forest and against Wolves, Shaw was one of our best players. He looked so comfortable at the back next to Rafa Varane, and obviously it does help how Varane has been an absolute Rolls Royce for us this season. But, I think Maguire just has to kind of, bide his time. I know he's a club captain, but, when a team's working and, there's no need to fix it, then it's going to be difficult for him to get back into the side. I'm sure, maybe when we face Charlton or Everton in the FA Cup, we will see Maguire come back in. But, it's going to be difficult. And obviously, I heard Rio Ferdinand's comments on BT Sport saying if he was Maguire, he would look for another club. But, we'll see what he does. But I think he will remain at the club to the end of the season at least. Whether Ten Hag wants to keep Maguire is a different question. We'll see what will happen. Time will only tell with that. But, I do think that he will start Luke Shaw again. I know Maguire is fit and I know he is an out-and-out centre-back, but I thought Luke Shaw's been one of our better players. Lisandro on the bench. Yeah, I have gone with Martinez on the bench. For me, listening to what Ten Hag was saying in his press conference, I just didn't get the vibe that Ten Hag was confident that Martinez would be starting. He did say that he'd probably be back in the squad for our game, but the fact that he didn't really seem adamant, or he didn't seem confident enough to say that Martinez would definitely be starting suggests to me that he might be kind of sitting this one out, maybe until the 60th, 70th minute, fingers crossed, pending that we do get the job done. But we'll see what happens. But I would like to see Martinez get some game time because we saw with Varane that that kind of 20 minutes at the end of I think, was it the Forest game, or it was one of the games we played after the World Cup, maybe the Burnley game actually. Those 20 minutes he got in the Carabao Cup game against Burnley, I think really did help him readjust back to life, in club football. And I think, even though he was still playing high level football in the World Cup, obviously playing the World Cup final, the highest game in football you can get, really, the highest quality game of football you can get. Ultimately, he still needs some time to adjust. And I think Martinez, especially, with all the time he's had out, celebrating his win, I think he'll definitely need some time to adjust. So hopefully we see that against Bournemouth. And I really hope he gets a few minutes anyway. But guys, let me know your predictions for this game in the live chat. I'll give you my prediction. And you guys can leave your predictions in the live chat as well. And then we'll get to a few of your comments and we'll wrap it up from there. As I said, if you're watching, leave your predictions in the live chat right now. And let's see what you guys have to say. My prediction, we've been fairly solid at home in terms of keeping clean sheets. Obviously, David De Gea is one behind Ederson in terms of clean sheets kept in the Premier League this season. And, Bournemouth have a bad habit of shifting goals. I think they're on minus 18 goal difference this season, which is fairly unsurprising for a team that are battling it down in the relegation zone, or close to the relegation zone in 15th place. So I think we will keep another clean sheet. I do think Bournemouth have got a few players that can hurt us, especially from set pieces with obviously Kiefer Moore. Philip Billing, I think, has been maybe their standout player this year. He's scored some spectacular goals already this season. But I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Manchester United. I don't think we're going to see an absolute battering. I don't think it's going to go that way, but I think we'll see a 2-0 win from United. And I think we'll be fairly confident in the game. I think, especially after the win against Wolves, the confidence we've got from winning 3 games in a row since the World Cup finished. Hopefully, we continue that into 2023, and I do believe we will continue that. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Manchester United. I think Marcus Rashford will get on the score sheet. And you know what? I'm going to say Casemiro scores as well. I'm going to go 2-0, Rashford and Casemiro. Hopefully that means we put a bit of a marker down in terms of challenging the top 4. Obviously, it'll put 7 points between us and Liverpool as well, which is always good. But we just want to get off to a very, very good start in 2023. Start as we mean to go on. So I'm going to say 2-0 win and a very happy start to 2023. Let me see what you guys are saying. Andrew says if United get a goal in the first 20 minutes, it should be comfortable. Yep, obviously easier than it sounds, but when we've scored first in games this season, we've been fairly confident and fairly comfortable. I don't think we've lost a game this season where we've scored first. In fact, we might have won all of them. I think it's like 8 out of 8 when scoring first. So, yeah, fairly confident that if that does happen, we should be able to, kind of stamp our authority on the game. But we've just got to play like we did against Forest. And we did against Burnley. We've got that quality. We have the confidence. Rashford's on fire right now. Our midfield defence is seemingly very, very strong. Our record at Old Trafford this season, apart from the Brighton defeat, has been very, very good. So there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Owen says 4-1 Rashford hat-trick. I hope you're right, mate. I really do hope you're right. But that would be a dream result. It really would, especially for Rashford to get a hat-trick this season would be brilliant. Odds on Tony doesn't join. So, I mean, if you get that's a bit of a layered joke there. Beautiful, beautiful layered joke. I'll tell you what, Tony obviously getting injured is obviously unfortunate for him. I think there was a lot of United fans that probably would have taken him as a bit of a January signing. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to go through, especially with the injury. 2-0 says Box. Great minds think alike. 3-0 says Rich. They're shit as Forest. As I said, I hope you're right. I hope they do live up to that. And 3-0 says Andrew. So very confident in the live chat. Very, very confident, which is always good to hear. Andrew says, United scored 24 goals so far in the league. Not enough. If Marcus gets hurt, big trouble. 100%. 100%. And that's why I think if we are going to get top 4 this season, we are going to have to rely on Marcus Rashford unless we can bring in a proper number 9. And as I said at the top of the show, Martial and Anthony can come good, and I think they will come good at some point, because at the start of the season I thought Anthony in particular looked really, really good, and obviously got 2 or 3 goals and started his United career very well indeed. But Martial this season just hasn't really hit the ground running. He's had a few good performances, but I would like to see Martial really hold his own in that number 9 position, because if he doesn't, he's already had his manager talking about potentially bringing in a number 9. So he really needs to play well. He really needs to step up, and I really hope he does. Obviously, he scored his goal against Forest, but I really would like to see Martial taking the initiative, stepping up, and being the main goal scorer for Man United, so we can share the load a little bit. As Andrew, you pointed out, we can't be relying on Marcus Rashford totally for our goals. So, yeah, 2-0 United is my prediction. A lot of positivity in the live chat, which is good. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. But guys, that is it for the first stream of 2023. Hopefully this game will provide the first win of 2023 for Manchester United. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, all that good stuff. And thank you very much for watching. Check out all the channels that I shouted out in this stream, Rich Sports, and of course Dazzle's Football Stand as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Really do appreciate you giving up your bank holiday Monday, and I'll see you after the game tomorrow. But till then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Cheers.